My friend, if you want to kickstart your guitar technique progress in 2025, you just clicked on the absolutely perfect video for that. Because today I want to show you an exercise concept that will boost your progress immediately, because it includes a sneaky picking trick that professional players use to play extremely fast and clean. So in this video I will show you the 3 key exercises you need to clean up your alternate picking and push it to new speeds that you couldn't imagine so far. Here's what this is all about. So one of the main mistakes that most guitar players make when they work on their picking technique is working on very linear exercises when it comes to the string transitions. Of course, that's a great hand synchronization exercise because your hands have to be perfectly synchronized, so every single picking stroke has to match the right note that the fretting hand is fretting. So if you're just getting into picking technique, starting out with something like this can be cool, just picking a scale and playing it up or down. But what professional players actually work on in their routine when it comes to picking technique is being able to fluidly transition between the strings no matter what kind of weird picking pattern. Because in a practical situation, you rarely just play a scale from the lowest note to the highest note. You often have 3 notes on one string, 1 note on the next string, then you have to skip a string for 2 notes, then you have to go back 2 strings for 3 notes and so on. So if you only work on very linear exercises in your routine, you will be able to do that quite fast at one point, and yeah, that does sound nice, but you will never achieve true freedom with your picking technique if you can't effortlessly navigate in a super clean way at any kind of tempo in between the strings, no matter the picking pattern. So you absolutely need to develop a bulletproof picking technique that can handle string skipping, weird string transitions, pretty much anything that's thrown at you at any given tempo. And here's the first exercise that will really help you with accomplishing that. So what's so cool and incredibly helpful about this exercise is the picking pattern. You start out simple enough with an easy 3-note per string phrase, starting on the note G on the 12th fret on the G string, and then you're just playing on the 14th and 16th fret. So just on one string, down, up, down. So far so good. But then you're facing your first challenge already. So after the last downstroke on the G string, you're playing an upstroke on the B string, the note C on the 13th fret, and then you immediately return to the G string to finish the first phrase. So the first challenge is escaping from between the strings after that upstroke on the B string. So make sure that you don't get stuck in between the B and G strings after that upstroke. It's kind of a small snapping movement with my wrist like this, but as soon as it gets faster, you know that these movements get really small. Just think about not getting stuck in between the G and B string for that. But here's the next tricky thing, and this is why this exercise is an absolute game changer. I have to skip the B string completely to continue with the exercise, and I'm playing a downstroke on the high E string on the 12th fret, playing the note E. Here's the full exercise so far. And this is super tricky because that's the second escape movement that I need with my pick. So first I needed to escape the strings after an upstroke, but now I'm skipping a string and I'm playing a downstroke on the highest string, and I need the different escape movement. Because after playing that note on the high E string, just one note here on the 12th fret, I have to go back to the G string immediately. So I'm not only training my string skipping here, which is quite obvious when I have to skip between different strings, right? I'm also training the 2 different escape movements that I constantly need with my alternate picking. First, the escape movement where I have an upstroke on a higher string and I have to return to the lower string. And then the second escape movement when I have a downstroke on a higher string and I have to return to a lower string. Usually you always practice licks where you only need one of those escape movements. Something like this, for example, where you're just looping this one phrase and you're always escaping after that upstroke on the higher string, back to the lower string. But the sneaky trick with professional picking exercises like this is that you have to work on both of these movements. So escaping after an upstroke and escaping after a downstroke. So here's the full exercise played very slowly. Watch my picking carefully. I'm only playing alternate picking, so down, up, down, up, down, up. No kind of economy picking or sweep picking trick in there. And I really focus on not getting stuck in between the strings, both after that upstroke on the B string and that downstroke on the high E string. Once you get better at this, you will really feel your wrist rotating a little bit as you're escaping from in between the strings, and that will greatly clean up your alternate picking technique. Because with just one exercise, you're working on everything that you need, both escape movements and also synchronizing the hands. So this is easily one of the most powerful exercises I ever shared with you on this channel. By the way, all of the exercises I'm showing you in this video are part of the brand new Picking Precision Mastery package I made for my online guitar academy on patreon.com/bernd. You can find the link down below. This brand new practice package comes with new play-along workout videos where you can practice together with me at very, very slow tempos, but also at quite fast tempos to challenge yourself and your picking technique. You also get backing tracks with and without my guitar. You get a detailed guitar profile that you can play along with, and of course also the PDF tab sheets. As soon as you become my guitar student for real by clicking the link down below, you also get access to my premium guitar technique courses. Those are 30-day courses that teach you everything about all the guitar techniques that you need to know. You also get access to all my music theory courses and even my home recording courses over there. And there's even a limited personal coaching tier in case you want to be in touch with me directly to give you feedback on your guitar playing and technique. So right now at the start of the year, it's the absolute perfect time to join my online guitar academy. Use that beginning of the year motivation to finally kickstart your guitar progress. I'm waiting for you inside my online guitar academy. Just click the link down below, patreon.com/bernd, and I will personally greet you inside. But for now, let's continue with exercise number 2. So this is a really cool second level or variation of this exercise that makes it even trickier depending on what you worked on so far with your picking technique. Because now those two picking escape movements are closer together compared to the first exercise that I showed you. So the loop is kind of getting smaller. You're returning right to the note on the high E string that you have to play with a downstroke after that upstroke escape on the B string. And in my personal opinion, that makes the exercise even harder because you have less time to think because the loop is getting smaller now. And I have to think a little bit more about the picking angles that I'm using for this. So once again, for the upstroke, the pick is pointing upwards like this. So it's not pointing downwards like this, and I'm not moving into the guitar while I'm playing. It's pointing upwards so that I can escape from in between the strings. But for the downstroke on the high E string, it is pointing downwards like this, so that my pick is moving away from the guitar again and not into the guitar. I always want to move away from the guitar. So here's how it sounds like when I loop it. What helps me with rotating my wrist a little bit and controlling the string transitions as always is closing my wrist. So I personally can't recommend anchoring with your fingers here on the guitar body. I think that really messes with feeling the string transitions correctly. And a personal preference is also closing my hand because my fingers are not flopping around touching the strings or the knobs like this. It just feels a bit more ergonomic. But let's say you want to make this even more challenging. Of course, I have a third exercise as well for all the overachievers. This one will blow your mind a little bit, especially if you worked on exercises 1 and 2 for quite a while, because we're gonna change up the fingering now. Check out how cool this one sounds like. So this one's gonna be a bit of a brain and finger twister as well. The good news is that the picking approach stays exactly the same compared to the second exercise. So you still have that loop of the upstroke escape movement and the downstroke escape movement on the B string and the E string. But instead of this pattern that we've been working on for all the exercises today, where you're ascending in a 3-note per string scale, you're instead playing the lowest note of the pattern, followed by the highest note of the pattern, and then the middle note of the pattern. And that is super tricky, especially if you worked on the first pattern for quite a while, because overall I think that the ascending pattern is overused a little bit because it's naturally the easiest one. We all start out with playing the lowest note, then the middle note, and then the highest note. I think we've all heard that before, but the second pattern is actually more interesting, I'd say. It's already a bit trickier when you just play it on one string, but once you add those two different pick escape movements to that, it's gonna be really tricky. Once again, this is awesome for your hand synchronization because you worked on this first pattern for quite a while and then you're forcing yourself to change up the pattern, so you're really fighting your brain when you're doing this. I can already really feel that this is unlocking my wrist quite a lot. I feel super loose after practicing these exercises. So if you're ready to push your technique to this level, these 3 exercises are the way to go. Just download the brand new picking precision package I made especially for my awesome guitar students in my online guitar academy on Patreon. The link is down below, patreon.com/Bernd. As I mentioned, you also get access to all my premium online guitar courses over there, like the awesome guitar technique courses, music theory courses, and home recording courses. So if you're serious about all this, it's finally time to become my guitar student for real. Let's make 2025 your best year on your guitar journey so far. I can't wait to help you with accomplishing your goals. Just click the link down below, patreon.com/Bernd. I'm waiting for you inside. See you next time.